Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. We're going to do player ratings. I'm going to do player ratings. Look, really disappointing night at the Etihad, and it's so difficult to do these player ratings when it's a night like tonight, because while I thought pretty much no one showed up, like really no one, Reiss Nelson maybe, we'll get into his rating in a bit, I can't help but look as well at the way we approach the game, certain decisions from above, from the manager and all that, and then you've got to credit what Man City are doing in the game as well. That kind of brought us to a level that I haven't seen from Arsenal this season. I genuinely think that was the worst performance we've seen all season. But you've got to respect the opposition who forced that out of you to a degree. But we're going to go into it. Aaron Ramsdale. Now, I think can do better with the first and last goal, but made some pretty outstanding saves as well. And if not for him, we're, I don't know what, 4-0 down at half time. Felt like it should have been, maybe 5. I'll give him a 6. 6 harsh? I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 because it would have been a 10 out of 10 performance had I not been left with that feeling he could have done better on the first and fourth goal. But then it's just a feeling like, I don't know. I mean, was it just a great finish from De Bruyne for that first one? Maybe 7's too harsh, but it is one of the better ratings I'm going to give out. So, 7 out of 10 for Aaron Ramsdale, and ultimately 4 goals conceded. Let's move to right back, Ben White. A few times Grealish really did him, but a few times he also recovered well. And I thought throughout the game he was one of the few people actually still throwing himself at anything, trying to salvage whatever bit of pride he could from the game. So I'll give White a 4. I mean, because 5 is fine, and I don't think anyone did fine today. But I thought he was kind of as near to that as anyone, so I'll give White a 4. Rob Holding. It's the same old story with Rob Holding, because on the Rob Holding front and what he can give to this game, I got exactly what I expected from Rob, which is that he can't press, he can't man mark, because the other players are far too dynamic for him. Their movement's too good, and he doesn't have the recovery pace if he gets it wrong. That's something that William Saliba has. Having said that, I feel like he was hung out to dry a little bit by Mikel Arteta, because how are you asking him to press on the halfway line on Haaland and De Bruyne when you know that he doesn't have the attributes to do that? So in terms of trying to do what he can give to that role, I thought he did largely as well as you can expect from him. One big tackle to save a potential goal. Then he got his own goal. I'll give him a 4, maybe. So I don't know. What's the difference between giving a 1 and a 3? Do you know what I mean? No, you know what? I'll give him a 3. I'll give him a 3 because, Haaland wins the ball far too comfortably, and I thought he just looked like he was having a torrid time today. But I want to remove some of the blame off Holding, and I'll go into that when I speak about Mikel Arteta a little bit later in this player ratings. GABRIEL, 3. I thought kept trying. Was he at fault for any of the goals? I think De Bruyne strikes it so early. I don't think I can blame Gabriel for that. I think before De Bruyne actually cuts in to look like he's going to take on his right foot and drive forward, it actually looks like there's a ball wide to Grealish. So I think Gabriel's kind of got that in his mind, which is why it maybe looks a little bit easy for De Bruyne, but I think it's brilliant from him as well. I'll give Gabriel a 3. If you give him lower or slightly higher, I'm not going to argue too much. Left back, Zinchenko. I'm going to give him a 1 today, if I'm honest. Maybe a 1 should be reserved for people who scored a load of own goals and were genuinely awful. But I think for me, the issue with Zinchenko was giving the ball away. I think not impacting the game, either when he dropped into midfield to try and make something happen, or slotting out to left back to keep the game, a bit wider. I don't think in any role did it work for him. Defensively, didn't add anything. But also, he is an experienced player. He is a player who has been in that City dressing room and knows what it takes. And I don't think he looked today like he understood what it took, at least in terms of intensity and urgency and leadership. And I'm judging him differently because I had higher expectations of Zinchenko going into this game. So I'll give him a 1, but maybe he wasn't 2 ratings worse than Holding and Gabriel, but I had a different level of expectation for him, and I thought he was really poor today, Zinchenko. Partey doesn't get a 1 as well, probably. Are these really really awful ratings? I mean, the question I'm asking myself is, did they do anything good? Did they have any sort of positive impact on the game? I don't think Partey did at all. I think jogging back for the 3rd goal, really poor. I think, his job's made harder by having, Rob Holding, who doesn't press in the same way, and everything, the system kind of falls apart around him. But giving the ball away, loads of really silly fouls. He's got his arms around Grealish when he pulls him down at one point. Was it Grealish? Yeah, gives away the foul that leads to the 2nd goal. I thought Partey had a shocker, real shocker. So yeah, I'll give him a 1. Again, I don't think the system, the players around him help, but I expect better from an experienced player who has done it at Anfield before. Maybe not for Arsenal, for Atletico Madrid, who has played a lot of important senior minutes and has turned up for Arsenal in big away games this season. I thought he was really poor. And again, I'm looking more at the expectation side of things, and he fell way short of expectations today, Thomas Partey. Martin Odegaard, I'll give him a 2, 3. I don't know, I've got Frank nodding. I mean, 2 or 3. Let's give me a 2. Fair enough, I'm going with that. The captain, expect more. Didn't have any impact on the game. Didn't look like he was driving the team forward, even in terms of even verbally or anything. Couldn't sort of create much. But I guess that's hard to as well. City were brilliant. And I think it's important that context is applied to all these ratings. City were unbelievable and forced poor performances out of a lot of our players. But Odegaard, I'll give him a 2. You're probably wondering why I'm giving the defence kind of more credit, because I actually saw White throwing his body in the way at times. I saw Gabriel trying to get back and make blocks. I kind of, even though they were shambolic, I saw a degree of fight from them. And the midfield and attack, I saw quite literally nothing. That brings us on to Xhaka. 3. Why was he better than Partey and Odegaard? I'm not really sure. No, you know what? Drop it down to a 2. I didn't really see much from Granit Xhaka. God, he feels really harsh. But it was, but it was a really bad day against Manchester City in a performance that could have at least left us with hope, could have at least left us with pride. And I don't think we came out with anything today. So yeah, a 2 for Granit Xhaka. I think really struggled, and I think City's sort of rejigging of the formation meant that I don't think we really knew how to respond to that, and the midfield therefore struggled and were being pulled all over the place. Gabriel Jesus, couple nice dribbles, but that's it. Really, that's it. Didn't hold the ball up, didn't link up, didn't drag us up the pitch, wasn't an outlet in the way he's been in the past. I'll give him a 2. Yeah, again, and like Zinchenko, I expected so much more from Jesus, having a point to prove because they sold him, having the chance to lead his team to a title and drag us out of trouble when we were under pressure. And at least the one thing Jesus could have done today, amongst conceding all the chances, I think he could have tried to drag us up the pitch and give us our own chances. We could have conceded 3 goals in the first half, but what if we nick 1? Things like that. Just give us some firepower and punch going the other way. And when Martinelli and Saka played that lovely football down the right-hand side at 0-0 in the first couple of minutes of the game, Jesus didn't look like he was really busting a gut to get into the box to be on the end of that cutback. So disappointed from Jesus. Martinelli and Saka, I'm going to do them all both at the same time because I think you can give them the same rating. I'll give them both a 3. The reason it's not as bad as a 1 or a 2 isn't because they had any more impact on the game, but because I thought they weren't given any chance at having more impact. The ball never got to them. And when they did have it, it was just such a struggle for them. I think they tried to take their teammates on. I think they tried to come inside and combine and do things. Just didn't work. And I put more pressure, I expect more from the senior players in a game of that magnitude than I do Saka and Martinelli, who have shown up more than anyone this season for the team. So I'll give him a 3. Who else is there? Let's talk about the subs. Jorginho came on. I'll actually give him a 5. I know I said kind of no one was fine today, but I don't think Jorginho did anything wrong. I think we conceded 1 goal, and that was in added time when he was on the pitch. But maybe City just kind of let him play, but I thought he was fine. Trossard, I'll give Trossard I'll give him a 5 as well. He was fine, and of course he got the assist. And he's just a really kind of cool head on shoulders, isn't he? He doesn't really get fazed by any of it. REISS Nelson, you know, you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to give him an 8. He came on and he took players on. He looked buzzy. He gave us an energy that we lacked, an intensity. And maybe that kind of shows where Saka and Mate were lacking. But what I will say is that Man City at that point were 3-0 up and I think had dropped off. And I think was sort of reserving a little bit of energy for what is a chase for the treble. So yeah, Nelson, I'll give him an 8 because he showed something when he came on, more than something. I thought he looked really bright. And Nketiah, I'll give him a 5. Tried to take on some players, tried to stretch them a little bit, tried to do something. But again, how much did Man City kind of allow that? He was fine. But again, what more can he really do? And I can't really think, who else? Oh, Smith Rowe came on. Just give him a 5. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he had any impact. I didn't really expect him to, having not been given any minutes in other games where we needed goals. So, strange sub from Mikel Arteta. And that brings us on to Arteta. A 2 today, Mikel. I love what Mikel Arteta has done with this team. And I want to stress that when we went punch for punch with Tottenham last year, knowing that we shouldn't because we had Rob Holding in the team, because they were going to tear us to shreds on the counter and all that, what he did was send a message to the players that we are going to have a principle of play and I believe in you no matter who it's up against. And this season we've reaped the rewards of that because we have gone to Stamford Bridge and won. We've gone to Anfield and played brilliantly for 40 minutes. We've gone to Old Trafford, yes, lost, brilliant at times. And we've had other big wins this season. Tottenham being one of them. Look at the difference between the North London derby away from home this year to last year. But this was a game where I think he should have also just adapted. And like so many managers do, Jurgen Klopp's done it before, been more pragmatic. Jose Mourinho, the master of it. Pep Guardiola, hell, he did it for us tonight by going more to a back four and moving Akanji to left back. Fergie would go 4-3-3 in Europe. I mentioned this on other fan cam. They've adapted. And I haven't seen Arteta adapt at all for this game, for Man City at all this season. And it might have cost us the title to a degree. So I think Arteta disappointing. I didn't see the same fire from him on the touchline. I thought the subs were wrong. I can't believe he didn't make a change at half time. We were getting torn apart at 2-0. There's always a chance still, as we've seen in our own, drop points in the last 3-4 games. Subs were wrong. Game plan at the start was wrong. And I thought his demeanour on the touchline felt very un-Arteta. I didn't see that fire to drive his team forward because I think he maybe saw the inevitable, what was coming. The referee, can't really complain about anything they did. Michael Oliver did wrong, 5. I think he got most of the decisions spot on. Although weird, the offside was weird, I will say that, but I guess you've got to trust the technology. But some of the angles just didn't look right. And then the fans. You know what? I'll give the fans a 10. Give them 11, give them a 12, give them what you want. Anything a 10 or above, because the fans went into this, and I'm not talking the fans who were at the game, I'm talking fans all around the world were ready for this. They had no reason to feel optimistic, as shown by the result. They had no reason to feel this sense of hope after the last 3 results we've had and the performances, or what a mess we've been at the back. But they still believed for their team, and they still got behind them, and they still rode for them, and they still try to channel whatever they could to give the team whatever energy they needed. They referenced Anfield 89, they referenced Old Trafford and the Will tournament, they referenced everything they could to try and believe that this team could come out and deliver something. And it's the fact that this team didn't show anything today, really, that is the most disheartening. You can lose 2-1 and go punch for punch and give it your all, but we didn't get that today. The fans were brilliant, and I also saw a tweet from Charles Watt saying that the fans were singing non-stop throughout the game, so fair play to all of them at the Etihad as well. Look, we try bounce back, we go into the remaining 5 games, and we see what the season throws up for us. And if it doesn't, you at least cement second place, you at least cement something close to Man City, and you go again in the summer. Big thanks to everyone who's watched this video. Hit the like button if you've, I'm going to say enjoyed it. Hard to enjoy it, but if you've taken something from it, and go check out all the other coverage on AFTV and the other player ratings from Robbie at the ground as well. Many thanks.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.